good, everybody? My Paper Moon fam. It's your boy, PaperSin, aka the Hokage of the village. Hitting in that loud, you feel me? And when it comes to the internet, you might be surprised to find out that the internet is not just used for X-rated content. The internet is also not just used to cancel people who have the slightest variation in opinion compared to you. And the internet actually can be used to save people's lives. And that's the video we're gonna be checking out today. This video is called When Internet Users Saved People's Lives. And it's by the YouTube channel wavywebsurf. Let's check it out.
The internet is generally a hostile environment, but on extremely rare circumstances, we've seen folks online set aside their differences to save people's lives. Yes, over the years, there have been cases of lost hikers, injured travelers, and missing persons miraculously rescued thanks to the collaboration of random internet users.
Good job,
Others
internet.
have had life-threatening medical conditions diagnosed off photos uploaded to the web, which resulted in these sick people getting life-saving medical care. Today, we'll be looking at several remarkable cases involving internet users saving people's lives.
Chibi. Facebook helped a trapped father.
This story involving internet users saving someone's life is one of the more heart-wrenching in today's video. It's a story involving a 10-year-old girl issuing a desperate plea to Facebook, hoping that her friends could potentially save her father's life.
And my dad's almost dead. We need an ambulance, please.
On the evening of June 10th of 2014, the United States National Weather Service was monitoring a large and potentially dangerous band of thunderstorms that had been moving through the state of Kentucky. As the storms approached the border of West Virginia, they would become increasingly more violent, unleashing torrents of rain, lightning strikes, hail, and wind gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour. Near midnight, the squall line would descend upon the small West Virginian town of Henlawson, located in Logan County. And it would be here that this storm would claim some of its first victims. Gregory Vance of Peck's Mill, along with two family friends, were sitting on the front porch of Vance's home observing the storm's approach.
Why? Why? Winds and hail and rain and storm up to 40 miles per hour. I'm just gonna sit on the front porch and watch. Yep. This out here in nature feels good. Not life-threatening at all. Nature, people say she's a cruel mistress sometimes, but nope, I don't see it. I don't see it. Just gonna sit out here on the front porch and watch the storm.
Likely expecting nothing more than some subdued rain showers, Vance and company were caught off guard after some strong winds started buffeting the property. Powerful lightning soon followed, and amidst the chaos, a large tree near his home would become destabilized. And moments later, this massive tree came crashing down, falling directly on the man's porch, crushing both him and his guests underneath its immense weight. It would be at this moment that Gregory Vance's 10-year-old daughter, Brianna Vance, would emerge from the home and witness the horrific unfolding scene. Her father was trapped under the tree, and while he was still alive, the man appeared seriously injured and couldn't free himself from the immense weight of the fallen object, and neither could any of the other victims. Panicked, the girl would initially go inside and attempt to dial 911 to get help for her father, but due to the storm's impact, landlines and cell service in the local area was down. With the life of her father on the line, the quick-thinking girl decided to check and see if her home's Wi-Fi was still accessible, and miraculously, the internet connection had somehow survived the storm. In a desperate plea for help, Brianna logs into Facebook and creates an urgent video message to alert her local community of the perilous circumstances at the Vance family home.
The lightning crashed and hit a tree by our porch, and my dad's almost dead. We need an ambulance, please. Please call one for us if you have signal. Please, we need an ambulance. Please save my dad. Please. Please.
Brianna would publish this tearful plea to Facebook. It was her
Damn.
only hope that her father would survive. But as some time passed and no help was arriving, things really started to look grim. The impact of the felled tree had wreaked havoc on Mr. Vance's body. The weight of the object had shattered 5 of his ribs and broken his collarbone. He was pinned down by the chest, and his ability to breathe was severely limited. If help didn't arrive soon, the man would surely die. With precious minutes passing and no emergency crews arriving, Brianna began to get more desperate, issuing further cries to Facebook for help. At this moment, Brianna likely felt that her dad wasn't going to make it. But during the recording of one of these final Facebook pleas, something that can only be described as a miracle takes place. To the surprise of Brianna, firemen and rescuers from the Logan County Fire Department seemingly appear out of nowhere. With chainsaws equipped, the rescue crew rushed to the site of the fallen tree and began sawing away its segments that had trapped Mr. Vance and his friends. And after some time, they were able to free the man and load him into an ambulance. Still suffering from serious injuries, his fate remained uncertain, but at least now he was getting medical help. Help that he wouldn't have gotten without the ceaseless life-saving efforts of his daughter. It turns out that Brianna's Facebook plea was noted by several members of the local community familiar with the Vance family. And following the instruction given in her tearful videos, these individuals managed to report the incident to local authorities, and that's how they found out about Mr. Vance's injury. All 3 individuals hit by the fallen tree were hospitalized. Mr. Vance's friends were released in short time, not suffering life-threatening injuries. However, Gregory Vance's medical situation was somewhat more complicated and required him to spend several days in the hospital.
I hope you get well soon because you are the best dad I can ask for.
But thankfully, the man managed to make a full recovery and was able to return home from the hospital in time to be celebrated by his family on Father's Day, which was on June 16th. However, considering the life-saving actions taken by his daughter, the holiday would mostly be spent celebrating Brianna and him expressing thanks for her quick thinking and courageous decision-making. This is a remarkable story showcasing the bravery of a child, the kindness of digital bystanders, and the effectiveness of a dedicated rescue crew. That was the story of the West Virginian Facebook rescue.
See, not all not the internet is always used to criticize and harass others like it seems to constantly be used for. But thankfully, like, this message was able to get out to those to people who were able to help, and she was able to save her dad. Like, imagine, like, she was 10, yo. Like, would you really want her to grow up without her dad being around because of an accident like that? So phone lines were cut. They couldn't do anything else. She sent out those Facebook pleas and cries, and thankfully, it made contact. Holy shit, that's what's up.
Before we get into our next story, a brief message. Hi, welcome to the Wavy Web Surf bedroom. Look, if you're anything like me, sometimes you have a hard time getting a good night's rest. Well, I'm here to introduce you to a potential solution. Today's sponsor, Beam. Beam sleep powder is mixed with water or milk to make a one-of-a-kind beverage perfect for winding down. Beam sleep powder is packed with ingredients clinically proven to help with sleep, such as melatonin, magnesium to help relax your muscles, and L-theanine, which helps calm you down and reduce anxiety before bed. And for me personally, there's something about having a warm beverage before bed that just makes me feel cozy and calm and ready to nod off. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, I don't even know if we're gonna be able to finish the video here. Beam sleep powder has no added sugars and only 15 calories per serving. Look, every time I end my day with some Beam, I find that I go to sleep a lot faster, and the next day, I'm feeling better than ever.
I wonder if you can use it for lucid dreaming.
To Beam. It's the holiday season, and Beam has a special offer. You can get 50% off any Beam product when you subscribe and save with my link in the description box. You can pause, skip, or cancel your Beam subscription at any time. Click that link in the description, and big shout out to Beam for sponsoring.
Shout out to Beam for sponsoring his video. Can't wait till I get
The
sponsored one
story
day.
begins back in 2014 on the Greek island of Crete. Renowned for its pristine beaches, beautiful coastal towns, and ancient ruins, Crete draws in millions of tourists to its shores from around the world every year. And thanks to the island's natural beauty and elevated cliff sides, it is a popular spot for hikers. Crete's elevated rocky cliffs make for great vantage points for sightseers.
Now, automatically, I'm thinking, how did the internet help in this situation? Because usually in spots like that, it's like very low reception. I mean, when it comes to internet, right? Like, how? Well, okay, let's.
Though such recreation doesn't come without peril, as you viewers will soon find. In June of 2014, an English vacationer by the name of Sandy Alcock was exploring a trail system that overlooked a particularly scenic portion of Crete's beaches. The area that she was traversing was said to have been quite the vantage point and was about 1,300 feet above sea level, so a great view of the ocean here. The view was said to have been awe-inspiring, and the woman moved closer to the cliff's edge for an even better perspective. However, while she was navigating her way closer to the cliff's edge, the rocky foundation beneath her started to give way and become unstable. And moments later, this loose ground gave way, resulting in the woman tumbling nearly 350 feet down the coastal cliffside, her descent only being stopped after she got caught up in a thicket of olive trees that were jetting out from the steep slope side. These olive trees had momentarily stopped her fall, but needless to say, Sandy was now in a life or death situation. The woman was about 1,000 feet from the bottom of the cliff, with nothing holding her up but a small tree. Compounding her problems at this time was the fact that the fall had broken several of her bones, and the woman could barely move. With her whole body now in excruciating pain, Sandy's first instinct is to try to pull out her phone and call for help. Using one hand and an agonizing effort, she managed to pull out her phone and dial a local hotel, and this call would lead her being connected with emergency responders. However, due to the sort of nondescript nature of the land around her, most of the coastline looking the same,
that's not really internet.
You know, Sandy's just general unfamiliarity with this area, she wasn't able to give responders enough information to triangulate her location. While rescuers would certainly be dispatched, with no landmarks to go off of, Sandy's likelihood of being found was slim to none at this point. To make matters worse, her phone was on its last few percentage points of battery, meaning that she wouldn't be able to remain on the phone with rescue for long. With the clock ticking in regard to her ability to communicate with the outside world, Sandy had to make a move and make it fast. And when this feeling of urgency hit her, that's when she comes up with an idea. Using her cell phone, Sandy would take this photo, which showcased the area in which she had fallen. She then posted the image to social media in the hopes that rescuers would be able to see it and recognize the site. However, even with this photo, emergency services had difficulty determining the exact location. The problem is the shorelines of Crete kind of just look like this all around the island. And with a limited ability to take additional photos, it was beginning to look like finding Sandy was turning into a needle in a haystack situation. That was until what could only be described as a digital miracle takes place. As Sandy's Facebook post was being shared around, the image made it to the computer screen of a local Cretan who worked as a scuba instructor on the island. As a scuba instructor, this man was familiar with the shores of Crete in a way that very few were. And this individual immediately recognized the area in Sandy's image as a beach where he had previously taught scuba lessons. The scuba instructor would then make a call to a local rescue unit and describe to them the exact location of her whereabouts. And lo and behold, after the rescuers went to this specified location, they looked down the cliff and found Sandy, seeing her bright blue clothing and her tangled up in an olive tree thicket, dangling off the side of this cliff. It would take a total of 2 hours from the time of Sandy's fall for her to be located, thanks to the scuba instructor. And it took another 8 hours for her to be successfully extracted from the cliffside ledge. After being pulled off this ledge, the
Good thing it wasn't
badly
life-threatening,
injured woman would be taken to
injuries.
the hospital for an evaluation. And it would be here that the true extent of the woman's injuries would become apparent. The impact of Sandy's fall had broken a total of 20 bones in her body,
Holy
including
shit.
8 ribs, both shoulders, her pelvis, and others. And this was in addition to several other painful injuries that she suffered, such as 7 spinal fractures, torn tendons, and a dislocated collarbone.
Yeah,
While the
bruh.
woman was battered, bruised, and in immense pain, she was alive. And it was all thanks to that scuba instructor on Facebook. Due to the extent of her injuries, Sandy was in hospital for nearly 4 months until she was finally healthy enough to board a plane and return home to England. Needless to say,
She's like,
the
"I'm done
woman
with this
has
shit."
stated on many occasions that it was thanks to this scuba instructor, whose name is not publicly known, that she survived. This is just one of those really fortunate cases where somebody that was an expert on local topography just so happened to stumble upon a Facebook
right.
post of someone asking for help, and it led to their rescue. Extremely lucky break for Sandy here.
I mean, that's more than extremely lucky. Like, that's once in a lifetime. Like, guardian angels must have been, her guardian angels must have left her side for a second, went to the guy who, the only person who could point her out, tapped on his shoulder, and pointed him to Facebook. Like, that's the only possible explanation that could have happened, to be honest. But I do have one question, not to undermine these people's accidents and injuries and things they went through, but I just gotta ask, man. So, because so far this has been nature and white people. What's wrong with y'all? Not like that, but like, why? Why y'all be fucking with nature so bad? I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. I don't know, but like, hold on, real quick. Let's go through. Let's speed run, not speed run, but real quick. Okay.
Her family's knowledge. May was 59 years old and said to have been afflicted with severe dementia. Existing in a near constant state of confusion, this is pretty dangerous considering a city like New York. May Goldberg's son, Josh, would be the first to discover that she had wandered away from the apartment. After this discovery, the initial mom with Alzheimer's is missing in the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
That's how
the
they
post
use
flare is tagged with missing person. Hello all, my mother left in a what she was suicide information with her/mother that could be used to possibly even
well, there goes my
going
thing.
viral online only helps.
Honestly, I thought all of this was gonna be like white people doing stuff in nature, and it's like, bro, what the? But hold on.
He captured a family.
Y'all are prone to nature accidents.
A seeming Instagram messages and coloration on Mr. Rizeppa's head. The first Instagram user to draw attention to this blemish was a woman named Jennifer Mancuso.
I'm guessing he was
a former
afflicted
high
with
school friend of Sarah
like
and an experienced dermatologist. Mancuso would go on to inform Jennifer in the replies of the Instagram thread that this reddish patch on John's head was a serious health concern and could potentially be cancerous. The dermatologist cited older photos of Mr. Rizeppa on Sarah's Instagram page, comparing recent and old photos and noting that the patch on his forehead had been.
Shout out to doctors on the looking at shit on the internet. Shout out. White people in nature.
Separated from the other athletes, quickly finding herself disoriented at the resort. Part of the triathlon were accident and the psych and land.
Over the bike.
Thankfully, most of the impact to her head was absorbed by the helmet, but the rest of her body wasn't so lucky. As the disorientation from the spill passed, Lee found herself unable to walk or use her bike in any main road had been landed. So now she wasn't able to get through with the causes due to from California to New York. Tweet. Thanks, rescue crews managed to discover the crash site and they found Lee. Only muscle got
This
dark.
is roughly what, 3 out of 5?
This that on major fans if his situation would turn in him fatigued all the time and his weight gain continued. And this would be a medical exam. His list weakness, a seemingly unquenchable thirst, a dry throat, skin infections, and would even suffer some bone weakening, with the man fracturing a rib at one point for seemingly like no reason, like not even making much of an exertion, and he broke a bone. Considering this guy had an athletic past, it just didn't make any sense. What the fuck was happening to this guy? Bear had become so confounded by his seemingly unexplainable delved into the comments to see what people revelate might have been affected by Cushing's syndrome, a serious medical condition caused by the overproduction of cortisol hormones. Cortisol in humans is known as the stress hormone, and an excess of cortisol results in being weakening in your bones. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? As Bear read these comments and sort of compared and contrasted what was going on in this thread to his own life, knowledge, and he would to this office look at it, was almost immediately diagnosed with Cushing's syndrome. Further testing would confirm that he had elevated cortisol levels, and further scans would reveal that the cause of this cortisol overproduction was a tumor growing on one of his adrenal glands. Cushing's is normally caused by a tumor growing on your pituitary gland. It's much more uncommon to have Cushing's resulting from an adrenal tumor. Only did the cause most of the weight gone and his energy back to its normal levels. Following his recovery, Bear would publish a video to the internet telling the details of his life-altering experience, emphasizing the pivotal role that Reddit and the online community played in his diagnosis.
6 months ago,
safe, man. Glad you're good.
But I didn't. I'm still here. Oddly enough, thanks to the internet, and more specifically, Reddit.com.
While Bear wasn't directly, saved in real life by Reddit users, his life and health was brought back to normal just thanks to an inadvertent post on the website. The user who created it never likely realizing they caused the impact on life and health was brought back to normal just thanks to an inadvertent post on the website. The user who created it things up. Click that link in the description box to get 50% off.
All right, well, glad thankfully everybody who went through that was listed in here lived and successfully made recoveries and everything. So shout out to that. So it's always good to see that, yes, the internet can actually be used for good. And it's not always, meant for evil and negative things. It reminds you that there is still some hope left in this world of ours. And yes, I know that white people aren't the only ones that traverse the nature of mother's nature, but at the same time, like, I think everybody who's gonna be out there doing things and just try to be as take all the precautions you can. Try to be as careful as you can, and I guess keep your phones and everything charged, because you never know what you might be able to do to post something on the internet that will save you. So everybody take care out there. You know what I'm saying? But that's it for this video. As always, link to this channel and link to this video will always be in the description below. So be sure to check out wavywebsurf. And while you're over there visiting his channel, don't forget to do those 3 things that I like to ask you to do. And like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. And you know what it is after that. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace and much love to you.